Good evening, everyone. It's Chris from Axel as well as Solstice. You can find us on both websites, and we are doing some adjustments on the web and the server. So for the Solstice ATR, you can find us at solstice.axelatrai.com. And on Axel, it's axelatrai.com. I hope this video is going to be helpful. We're not a broker dealer. Our past performance doesn't give us any indication of our future results. Use at your own risk. And remember, check the YouTube video. It's for on weekly basis given out to everyone the outlook that's going to happen in the coming market. But remember, this is just for educational use. Smash the like button, share it with your friends and people that may want to learn a little bit about the stock market. Let's go to the first slide that I have up here. And what I did, everybody's talking about we having a bubble. I know we have the II, the semiconductor, the shutdown of the government, the Federal Reserve Board, interest rates, inflation, the tariff, and so on between global, domestic, the war in Ukraine and Russia. Right now, there's a little bit of peace between in the Middle East and so on. The most important thing I want you to remember, the news is basically noise. The charts will give you the history and the data and the overall what the market is going to do in the coming weeks or month. Remember, trade what the charts offer you, not what you think. And you can see every time they talked about a bubble or something went wrong in the market, we had a fast rebound, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer. This is on the S&P 500 showing the total peaks and valleys of the market from the 1985 all the way till 1998 before the tech bubble in 2000, 2001, and 9/11, as well as the 2008 real estate bubble. I only wanted to show the historical return to show you what the S&P could have closed on an average yield and how long it took it to continue higher. So in an overall rate of return compounding, whether we look at Jay Powell, Alan Greenspan, the Washington Post, the LA Times, President Clinton, and so on, you can see that everybody panics. Take a snapshot, read it. We had a historical rate of return of 735% and a minimum of 38%. But if you look at the average compounding rate is about 282 and the median rate is about 148% for 4-year rate of return or 7.2 years continuation. Even with the short time frame, we have those little blips where we get a 5% down market or a 10% or 8%. We eventually rebound from it. This is on the S&P 500. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ 100, and we can see that the NASDAQ 100 from the 1985 till 1998, the average yield or the median rate of return is about 390%. You can see it down here, or about 750. And the number of days it took it to continue higher was 2,600 days or 1,550 days, plus or minus if you average those yields. Let's go to the next slide. And I wanted to show on this slide the S&P 500 from the 1958, where the S&P had a drawdown from minus 1.5% to almost an 18 to 20% yield. But the average drawdowns on the days were an average of 88 days and a median downtrend of 29 days. If we take the high of the S&P that we made this year in 2025, and we take the drawdowns from a zero rate of return, flat market to a minus 18%, you can see the drawdown is 5,639. Remember, these are just hypothetical numbers in case we get a 18% drawdown or a 7% drawdown or a 5% drawdown. If we have an average of 4.3, that's 6,592, or we have a 2.3%, that's 6,730 on the S&P 500, but I wanted to show this for illustration use and education. Taking a look at the market downtrends and uptrends in an overall market. So this chart I'm here showing, actually, let me see, did we do it? Yeah, we did it correctly. Now I have Bitcoin, but I'm using the futures on Bitcoin. And what I did, I put a weekly annual 2-year chart from January 1st of 2024 till the November 8th, which was yesterday, Friday of 2025, showing you the overall rate of return, the compounding move up to the 125,000 in Bitcoin and coming back to the 100,000 area. I really wanted to see below the 1,104, 128. I wanted to basically see, you can see where the 50 SMA is, and that was my number on it. We closed it slightly underneath that number because we looked at the 50 simple moving average. You can see the high and the low for the 2025. This was the low in April. This is the high in October before we came back down. We are hovering around the 100,000. If there's going to be continuation, we're going to pay attention to the backside of F3, or the F3 would be around the 61.8. If there's going to be rejection, or we're going to have continuation, we end up losing the 50, coming to the point of control. The volume profile, this is where most volume, if you take a look at the from the January 1st of 2024 till November of 2025, this is the total volume at the bottom. This shows you a value area taking all that volume from high to low, where most volume high was is about here, and where the value area low on the volume here, where most volume happened on Bitcoin is the point of control. We have two distributions on the time spent. We have one up here, like you can see it here, distribution on the volume. There's another one down here. But the time spent haven't migrated to the top. The time spent is still lower. So we use the time spent in relationship to the time spent low and most of the time where it was. But usually we use the value area high, the point of control, and value area low. For if we are trading above that sentiment, we're bullish, we are inside the range, coming back to the point of control, bouncing back up, or do we end up losing point of control, coming to the value area low? Remember, we're going to trade what we see, but I'm showing you a weekly candle where we rebounded after the announcement from the Democratic Party, Schumacher saying, hey, we want to get the health insurance and the agreements with the President Trump, and we want to reopen the government. But in reality, there's no agreement so far. It's just noise in the market. We got a nice rebound on Friday. Is there going to be continuation or not? We got to see what Monday will bring to us on. And this is Bitcoin. So I am paying attention to that 104, and I am still paying attention to the 97, 850, 823 area in Bitcoin. Let's go to the next. I put here the S&P 500, which is the E-mini futures on the S&P. These are the micro. They are similar to the E-mini because I use the E-mini has a lot of Fibonacci retracements and level. What I did, I wanted to show here from the high. You can see that the high here and the low that was announced on 10/8, 10/9, when the Federal Reserve, we had that bottom and we had this high. If I take the high and low, we cleared the 50%. So I marked this area very importantly around the 67, 32, 23 area to keep an eye on it if it's going to hold or not. And if we end up losing the 200 SMA, coming back to the point of control is going to be very critical. And the backside is 66.96. If we're going to continue higher, we clear the 67. 65, and we cleared the 67, 89 to 68.12. There's going to be a momentum move back up, and we cleared the 116 simple moving average. That's the orange, the 50s in the yellow. So if we clear the 116, I'm looking for the backside of F5 if it will act as support or resistance, and that 68 08 area and 68.12. If we end up not continuing, we end up losing the 116 simple moving average and the 67, 89 to 92 and rejecting and coming back down. I would be on the other side. I'm not biased to either side. We're going to trade what we see. And on Friday, I said in the market profile, I said the sentiment we may look below on Friday from Thursday night and rally back into the close because we're starting the new month. And Friday was basically end of the week in November. So they pushed it back up from the 250 SMA, the 200, and we did not get to the 116. What we pushed higher, but we could not clear the 67, 89, so far, or 85. So pay attention to that area if there's going to be continuation or not, because we had lost it because we had a week coming back down. Every time we looked up, we failed. In the prior 2 weeks, we had that Wednesday high. We have not been able to take that high back up. So remember to trade what you see. Let's go to the next slide. Remember to check us out once again under solsticeatr.com in order to get access to us and get in contact with us. I would like everybody to use solstice.axelatrai.com for the service that we provide on Discord for educational, as well how to trade the overall market, whether it's equities, options, futures, or commodities, or using adaptive algorithms. So check us out. Once again, get in contact with us. We're here to help. But what I want to do is go over a couple of small little things. And what I did, I put the NASDAQ 100 here. This is the micro NASDAQ E-mini. I showed the prior month high and the low in that last 30 days. The volume profile point of control is down here and the time spent here for those 30 days. If I cannot clear this area up here in the NASDAQ or the 116 SMA, you can see it. It's at 25,350 to 360 in order for me to continue higher. And I clear this prior consolidation in this area here and the breakout of it and look above this area here to continue. I'm going to come back to the backside of this that channel. Does this channel in F3 or F5 act to look above it and fail, act as resistance, or are we going to create some kind of a shoulder to continue higher? We're going to trade what we see, not what we think. And remember to use the value area high, the value area low, and the point of control in relationship to the highs and lows of the month and at the same time where the time was spent. So let's take a look at the micro Russell 2000. I'm going to use slash micro 2K. In every setup, sometimes setups in different platform, the symbols may be different, but this is the Russell 2000. I wanted to show this with the Fibonacci. And when we looked down, we almost got to the Federal Reserve down move. And we rallied back up on Friday due to that news. This area of consolidation, you can see this area here, 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 here. We are above it and we are above the 250. We tapped into the time spent and the value area low. The shadow, value high, value low, and the point of control. This is where most volume is. This is where the most time spent. So remember, we entered the time spent as well as the value area. If there's going to be continuation, we got to pay attention to the 18 SMA and F3, which is the 38.2. Or do we come back to the 200 SMA, which will catch up here in the backside of this channel, reject and continue up? Or do we look up and fail? Or do we come back down? So we're going to trade what we see in the small cap. What I want to show you here is, other than the small cap, couple of tech companies, and I want to talk about a lot of people talking about Meta, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and so on. I want to show the strength of Amazon as well as Google. I'll do Google just that way we can see it. Google. There's Google and Google, which is Alphabet and X. So we can see after the earning report, Google rallied up, retested that day, consolidated. We retested that area of the breakout on the earning, came back up, fell back in, but we are holding value area low. This is the value area high, which is in red, and the point of control. These VPOCs, these are volume profiles on daily, which are 30-minute. They are set up to tell me where those virgin control points, similar to the point of control here on that 30-day. These are daily 30 for 24-hour, 30-minute bars, which show me the point of control that has never been. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 never being touched to the downside. And this was created on Friday because we were having inside days back and forth. We were touching that point of control, and eventually we moved that point of control to here in the value high and value low. If there's going to be continuation, I would look for the backside of here. If there's going to be failure, I'm watching the 50 SMA if it's going to hold or not. Alphabet is doing the right thing in the technology AI area, so pay attention to it, as well as Amazon. And I will show you Snyder, SNDK, because they are in the servicing, storage, and so on, in uranium and gold. You can see that they cannot take any more clients, and they keep, after that earning report, you can see they can't take any customers till 2026. And you can see that push up. We came down and rallied hard on Friday. There may be continuation, even coming back to the backside here and continuing. That would be great. We are away from the 50 SMA, and the 18 so far is holding us up. You pay attention to the backside of this consolidation for continuation. Even if we fall back in, let's see if it's going to be continuation or not on Snyder. If I show you Meta, which is Facebook, known as Facebook, because they're spending money, they readjusting their books, and it seems even this rally, we have that earning gap down, even coming back to this area, getting a rejection of F3 or F5 and falling back down. That would be a problem, because I see a problem in Facebook, but it doesn't mean that there's going to be continuation all the way up to the top, because we are in consolidation on the daily chart on Meta. But I showed you this on 4 hours. We are so far away from that 690 area. Even coming up here, there's going to be a lot of resistance coming back, or even the value area low on the point of control. And the time spent was higher here. Even if you rally, we're going to get rejection over time. So this is on Meta. Take a look at uh, the S&P 500, the different sectors that I wanted people to pay attention to. And you can see in the financial world, you got XLF, you got XLY, utilities, material, energy, you got consumer staples, the Ps, the info technology, real estate, industrial, healthcare, telecommunication. At the same time, I put Bitcoin. This is on daily basis where, the percentages can move up and down. You see Ethereum recovered. Gold was a little bit down. In the fear and greed, we had a push up to the 2150 in the VIX, and we fell back in the VIX. So the overall volume is going to tell us the story about if the sentiment is changing in the market or not, if these are institutional buyers or individual investors that are trading that market for opportunity to make money for their own accounts. So let's now take a look at XLK. We can see in XLK, the tech sector. Oops, sorry, I have the Fibonacci down here. Let me remove it. You can see where the high was. We had these two gaps. We filled them. We retested this consolidation area here, found some kind of support and rallied up, but did not get to the 38.2 in these two consolidation. You can see that this was a gap up. This was a wick down, rally up, retested, tested the 116. We have the 116 and the backside of this channel in F3. If there's going to be continuation coming to the 5 or the 6, getting to the 50 in rejection, or do we find some kind of resistance and fall back in, and pay attention to the point of control. So let's take a look at SMH. And you can see SMH is in a similar situation. We had a lot of consolidation here before the breakup, but we fell back down. We were, every time we had a high from that Wednesday, we fell down, we rallied up, we fell down. And on Friday, the sentiment changed from being bearish to bullish. due to that noise, and we touched the F3, which are in consolidation above this area here. My concern, I am paying attention to that 348, 347.50 in it. If there's going to be support in order for it to continue to the 355, then eventually the 358.50. So that's in the semiconductor. Pay attention to it. Last but not least, I want to do one thing about gold, and we're going to use micro GC. Oops, micro GC. And I wanted to show on the micro GC after that big run, I think gold is basically consolidating for another move up because we have uranium power plants, the storage like Snyder AI, they need power. So they need utility, they need gold. So does gold play into this game? Yes. You have to pay attention to the dollar as well as Bitcoin, but I think gold is in this area of consolidation. Once it clears the 4,085 to 4,100, I think it's got potential to continue back up. But if it doesn't and it comes back to the 200 SMA or the backside of the value area here where there was consolidation, I would consider this a buy. But if we break above the 4060 area to 4085, 4100, there's going to be continuation to the upside and eventually run it back up to F5 and F6. So I wanted to show gold. I want to show you URA. Oops. Uranium, URA, and I'll do iron. You can see uranium is a little bit coming back to consolidation. It has cleared the 48 area. If it's going to fall back in, pay attention to the 47.25, 46.85 in uranium. And last but not least, I will show you iron. And you can see iron, there is continuation, even coming back to this area. It is retesting that large consolidation here before we had this breakout, retest, then come back in, rally up, create a higher high, then fall back in. But this is a, if you look at this area, every time we created a higher high from the lows and a higher high from the tops. So I would, if I want to do this, I would put a linear regression uptrend channel. So that way you are aware of it. That's the support for the short time frame. We don't want to lose that channel or the point of control in this area. And I would do the same up here. We are in a linear regression uptrend wedge. But if I take the center of gravity between this low here on the 30 days high and low, I can use a pitchfork or I can use a center line to see if I'm coming back to it. I'm going to show you how to do, going to show you how to do this. You take the low from here to this high and the bottom, and you create a pit. We are a little bit on that linear regression. If we fall, I'm paying attention to here. If there's going to be continuation, I'll clear the 50 SMA. I'll look for F3 and the 18 SMA, and that would get us back to the 23 and the 61.8 using a pitchfork. Remove the drawing. We can leave these edges, and you can go get actually another line or a fan. I'm going to show you how to use a fan as well. And you can see you can adjust this fan. This is acting right now as support. Do we continue in order to get to the second Fibonacci up here or not? It is very important you trade what you see, not what you think. And today I used the market profile with the time spent to show you where the values high on the monthly are, values low, at the same time where the point of control where we find support and resistance. Sometimes we trade in range, sometimes we trade above range for bullish, sometimes we trade below range, we test it and reject, we fall, we test and break up towards the point of control and value high becomes bullish, or we test the value area high, bounce off, that's super bullish. Or if we test the value area high and reject, we look for the point of control, and if we bounce here, that's great. If not, we look for the value area low. So if you want to learn a little bit more, let us know. We're here to help. I hope this video was very helpful. Once again, check us out at solstice.axelatrai.com. Get in contact with us, smash the like button, share with your friend, let us know what you think. Take care, over and